I was 28 when my mother chose my younger sister's wedding over my cancer diagnosis. The reason? She'd already put down a non-refundable deposit on the venue. I remember sitting in Dr. Patterson's office, my hands shaking as she explained the treatment timeline. Stage 2, breast cancer. Aggressive. We needed to start chemotherapy within 2 weeks. I'd driven myself to the appointment because everyone else was too busy with wedding preparations. My sister Natalie was getting married in 6 weeks. For the past year, our family's entire universe had revolved around her perfect day, the perfect dress, the perfect flowers, the perfect everything. I'd been the supportive older sister, helping with centerpieces and dress fittings, swallowing my exhaustion and the weird aches I'd been ignoring. I called my mother from the parking lot. "Mom, I need to talk to you. It's important." "Can it wait, honey? I'm at the florist with Natalie. We're deciding between peonies and garden roses. It's about my test results." "Oh." A pause. "Everything's fine, right? You've always been such a worrier." "Mom, I have cancer." Silence. Then, "What kind?" "Breast cancer. Stage 2. I start chemo in 2 weeks." More silence. I could hear Natalie's voice in the background, laughing about something. 2 weeks? My mother's tone shifted. "That's right before the final dress fitting. And you know we have the rehearsal dinner 3 weeks from now." I actually laughed. "Mom, did you hear what I said? Cancer. Chemotherapy. I heard you, sweetheart, and we'll deal with it. But Natalie's wedding is in 6 weeks. This is her special time. Can't you push the treatment back a little? Just until after the wedding?" I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, watching a woman load groceries into her car. Normal things. Normal life. "The doctor said we can't wait." Doctors always say that. They're so dramatic. "I'm sure a few weeks won't matter. You're young and healthy. And you know how sensitive Natalie is. If you make her wedding about your health crisis, she'll never forgive you." That's when I understood. My mother wasn't processing this. Or worse, she was processing it just fine and had already made her choice. "I'm not trying to make it about me, Mom. I have cancer. Don't be selfish, please. Natalie's been planning this for a year. The invitations are sent. The deposits are paid. Do you know how much we've spent? Your father will have a heart attack if anything disrupts this wedding. I might die. Don't be dramatic. Cancer is very treatable these days. You'll be fine. But this is Natalie's one special day. Surely you can wait 6 weeks?" I ended the call. Just hung up. My hands were still shaking. I drove to my apartment and sat on my couch for 3 hours, staring at the wall. Then I called my best friend Rachel. "Start the chemo," she said immediately. "Screw the wedding." But I knew my family. I knew if I started treatment before the wedding, I'd be the villain. The selfish sister who ruined Natalie's perfect day with her illness. So I did something I'm not proud of. I didn't tell anyone else. Not my father. Not Natalie. Not our extended family who kept texting me about bridesmaid duties. I scheduled the chemotherapy to start 3 days after the wedding. Those 6 weeks were hell. I smiled through the bridal shower I'd organized. I held Natalie's bouquet during photos. I gave a toast at the rehearsal dinner about how lucky her fiancé was, how beautiful she looked, how happy I was for her. The whole time, I had cancer growing in my body. The whole time, I was terrified. At the wedding, Natalie looked perfect. The garden roses were beautiful. Everything went exactly as planned. I danced with my father. He told me how proud he was of Natalie, how she'd always been so special. "What about me, Dad?" I wanted to ask, but I didn't. 3 days later, I started chemotherapy. Rachel drove me to the first session. I'd told my parents the night before, once Natalie and her new husband were safely on their honeymoon. My mother cried, "Why didn't you tell us sooner?" I laughed so hard I thought I'd break. "I tried, Mom. You told me to wait until after the wedding." "I didn't mean it like that. You should have insisted. You should have made us understand." But I had understood. Perfectly. My father said they'd help however they could. My mother said she'd come to appointments. Neither of them asked why I'd hidden it. Neither of them apologized for making me feel like I had to. The first round of chemo hit me hard. I lost my hair within 3 weeks. My immune system crashed. I developed painful mouth sores that made eating agony. Rachel basically moved in with me. taking time off work she couldn't afford. My mother came to one appointment. One. She spent the entire time on her phone, texting Natalie about honeymoon photos. My father sent money but never visited. He was busy with work, always busy. Natalie came home from her honeymoon glowing and tan. She stopped by my apartment once, saw me pale and bald, and burst into tears. "I can't believe you hid this from me," she sobbed. "How could you keep something so big a secret during my wedding planning? I thought we were close." I was too tired to even respond. "Did you tell Mom and Dad not to tell me?" "Because they didn't say anything either. I feel so betrayed. This is exactly like you, making everything about you even when you're supposedly being selfless." She left. Didn't ask how I was feeling. Didn't ask about my prognosis. Just left. I made it through 4 rounds of chemotherapy. The cancer responded well. Dr. Patterson was optimistic. But I was exhausted. Physically, emotionally, spiritually drained. Then, 2 months into treatment, everything changed. I was having a bad reaction to the chemo. Rachel rushed me to the emergency room at 2 in the morning. They admitted me immediately. Severe dehydration, dangerously low white blood cell count, fever spiking to 104. Rachel called my parents from the hospital. My mother answered. Rachel explained the situation. I could hear her on the phone, her voice tight with controlled anger. "Yes, it's serious. She's asking for you." I wasn't, but Rachel knew what she was doing. "I understand you have plans, but your daughter is in the hospital." A pause. "No, I don't think it can wait until tomorrow." Another pause. Rachel's jaw clenched. "Unbelievable," she muttered, hanging up. "They'll come in the morning. Your mom has a hair appointment." I actually wasn't surprised. But someone else showed up that night. Around 4 in the morning, a nurse told me I had a visitor. I figured it was Rachel coming back from the cafeteria. Instead, a woman I'd never seen before walked into my room. She was maybe 60, with silver hair and kind eyes. She wore expensive clothes but had this warm, comfortable presence. "I'm sorry to intrude," she said. "I'm Eleanor Hartley. I was visiting my sister down the hall, and the nurse mentioned you were alone." No one should go through this alone. I was too sick and confused to question it. She sat with me through the night, holding a cool cloth to my forehead, helping the nurses when my fever spiked again. She didn't ask questions. Didn't pry. Just stayed. In the morning, my parents finally arrived. My mother looked annoyed, like this was a huge inconvenience. My father looked uncomfortable, the way he always did around illness. They walked in and froze. My mother went completely white. My father made this choking sound. They weren't looking at me. They were staring at Eleanor. "What are you doing here?" my mother whispered. Eleanor stood up slowly. "I could ask you the same thing. Though I suppose showing up 12 hours late answers that question. You have no right to be here. More right than you, apparently. Your daughter was alone all night, terrified. Where were you? That's none of your business. You're not family." Eleanor smiled, but it wasn't warm anymore. "Aren't I?" My mother grabbed my father's arm. "Get her out of here." But my father wasn't moving. He was staring at Eleanor with this expression I'd never seen before. Fear, guilt, something deeper. "Who are you?" I managed to croak out. Eleanor turned to me. Her eyes were gentle again. "I'm your grandmother's sweetheart, your father's mother." The room spun. "That's impossible," I said. "Dad's mother died when he was young. That's what they told you, isn't it?" Eleanor's voice was soft but firm. "I didn't die. I left. Or rather, I was forced out." My father finally spoke. "Please what? Please continue to pretend I don't exist? Please let you keep lying to your daughters?" Eleanor looked at me. "I left your grandfather 30 years ago because he was abusive. Your father was 18. He chose his father. Cut me out completely. Changed his name. Told everyone I was dead. You abandoned us," my father said, but his voice shook. "I left your father. I begged you to come with me. You were an adult. You chose him and his money. He was my father. And I was your mother. But you made your choice. Fine. But these girls?" She gestured to me. "You kept them from me. You told them I was dead. You built your whole life on that lie. My mother found her voice. You need to leave. Now. I'm not going anywhere. Not until I know she's okay. Eleanor sat back down next to my bed, taking my hand. I was too stunned to pull away. My grandmother, alive. Here. How did you even know I was here? I whispered. I've always known about you. Both of you. I hired a private investigator years ago. I've watched from a distance, hoping someday your father would stop being a coward and tell you the truth. She looked at my parents. When I saw you'd been diagnosed, I wanted to reach out, but I knew you'd been told I was dead. I didn't want to make things harder. Then tonight, I was visiting my sister, and I saw your name on the board. Same floor. It felt like fate. This is insane, my mother said. You're traumatizing her. Can't you see she's sick? I can see she's sick. I can also see she was alone. Where were you when she got her diagnosis? Where were you during her treatment? Silence. Eleanor squeezed my hand. I know this is overwhelming. You don't have to decide anything right now. But I want you to know you have family. Real family. Someone who will show up. Someone who won't make you schedule cancer treatment around a wedding. My mother gasped. How did you? I told you. I've been watching. And what I saw disgusted me. You made your daughter hide her cancer diagnosis so it wouldn't inconvenience your younger daughter's wedding. What kind of mother does that? You don't understand. Natalie needed. Natalie is fine. This one nearly died tonight. The nurses said she'd been asking for her mother for hours. Where were you? My father finally moved. He crossed the room and stood between Eleanor and my mother. You need to go. You gave up the right to judge us when you walked away. I walked away from an abuser. You're becoming just like him. Can't you see that? Something in my father's face crumbled. Just for a second. Then he rebuilt it, brick by brick. Get out, or I'll call security. Eleanor stood. She looked at me one more time. I'm staying at the Fairmont downtown, room 412. If you want to talk, I'll be here for 2 more days. No pressure, no expectations. Just know that you have someone in your corner. Someone who gives a damn. She left. My parents stood there in the terrible silence. Is it true? I asked. Is she really your mother? My father wouldn't look at me. It's complicated. She's alive. You told me she was dead. How is that complicated? You don't understand what she did to our family. What did she do? Leave an abusive man? Seems pretty reasonable to me. Your grandfather wasn't abusive. He was strict. There's a difference. She has scars from where he burned her with cigarettes, my mother said quietly. We both stared at her. What? My father said. I saw them. Years ago. When you showed me pictures from your childhood, there was one of your parents at the beach. I saw the circular scars on her arms. I asked you about them. You changed the subject. You never told me you knew. You made it clear the topic was closed. I chose to respect that, but I always wondered. My mother looked at me. I'm sorry. About all of this. About the wedding. About not being here last night. A hair appointment, I said. She flinched. Do you? Do you really? Because from where I'm lying, it sounds like you value your hair more than your daughter's life. That's not fair. None of this is fair, Mom. I have cancer. I'm 28. I had to hide my diagnosis so I wouldn't ruin Natalie's wedding. I went through chemo alone because you were all too busy. And when I almost died last night, a grandmother I didn't know existed showed up before you did. So please, tell me more about what's fair. My father stepped forward. We're here now. 12 hours late. After Rachel called you. You didn't even check on me last night. You didn't call. Nothing. We thought you'd be fine. We didn't realize it was this serious. I'm in the hospital. With cancer. How much more serious does it need to be? Neither of them had an answer for that. They stayed for an hour. It was awkward and painful. My mother kept trying to explain about the wedding, about Natalie's sensitivity, about the deposits. My father just looked tired. When they left, I felt relieved. Rachel came back with coffee and took one look at my face. What happened? I told her everything. About Eleanor. About the lies. About my father's dead mother who wasn't actually dead. Jesus Christ, Rachel said when I finished. Your family is a mess. Tell me about it. Are you going to call her Eleanor? I didn't know. The whole thing felt surreal. But I also couldn't stop thinking about her hand holding mine. The way she'd stayed all night. A stranger, a grandmother, more present than my own parents. 2 days later, I was discharged. The fever had broken, my white blood cell count stabilized. Dr. Patterson said I'd been lucky. I went home and stared at the hotel name Eleanor had left. The Fairmont, room 412. Rachel sat next to me on the couch. What's the worst that could happen? She could be lying. She could be crazy. She could want something. Or she could be exactly what she seems. Someone who cares. I called the hotel that evening. Asked for room 412. Eleanor answered on the second ring. Hi, I said. It's me, your granddaughter. I could hear her crying on the other end. Oh, sweetheart. Thank you for calling. Thank you. We met for lunch the next day. She brought photo albums, pictures of my father as a child, pictures of her young and smiling, before everything went wrong, pictures of a family I'd never known existed. She told me her story, about my grandfather's violence, about years of walking on eggshells, about finally leaving when she realized she'd rather be alone than dead, about begging my father to come with her and watching him choose his father's money instead. I don't blame him entirely, she said. He was 18, scared. His father was very good at manipulation, but when he cut me out completely, when he told everyone I was dead, that broke my heart. Why didn't you fight for custody or something? He was 18, legally an adult, and your grandfather had powerful lawyers. He made sure I understood that if I tried to contact your father, he'd make my life hell. So I backed off. I built a new life, started a business, did well for myself, but I never stopped loving my son. And when I found out about you and your sister, I never stopped loving you either. You've been watching us? From a distance. I know that probably sounds creepy. But I wanted to know you were okay, that you were happy, that my son was a better father than his father was. And is he? She was quiet for a long time. I don't know. What I saw at the hospital worried me. The way your mother talked about the wedding, the way he wouldn't stand up to her, it reminded me of how things were with your grandfather. We talked for 3 hours. She asked about my life, my job, my friends. She wanted to know everything. And for the first time in months, someone was genuinely interested in me. Not my cancer, not how my illness affected them, just me. When I got home, my mother was waiting in my apartment. She'd used the spare key I'd given her for emergencies. We need to talk, she said. I was too tired for this. About Eleanor. About you meeting with her. How did you know I met with her? Natalie saw you. At the restaurant. She called me. Of course she did. What do you want me to say, Mom? I want you to understand that woman is poison. She walked away from her family. She abandoned your father. She left an abusive man. Dad was 18. He could have gone with her. It's more complicated than that. Everyone keeps saying that, but it seems pretty simple to me. She was getting hurt. She left. Dad chose his father over his mother. Now he's mad she didn't stick around to keep getting hit. My mother's face went red. You don't know what you're talking about. Then explain it to me. Make me understand why you all lied to me my entire life. We were protecting you. From what? From knowing I have a grandmother who actually gives a damn? Because from where I'm standing, that seems like something I should have known. She'll hurt you. She'll disappoint you. She always does. Like you did when you told me to postpone cancer treatment for a wedding? That kind of disappointment? My mother stood up. I came here to help you see reason. But clearly, that woman has already gotten to you. That woman sat with me all night in the hospital while you were getting your hair done. So yeah, she got to me. I'm your mother. Then act like it. She left, slammed the door. I sat in the silence and cried. Over the next few months, things got worse before they got better. Natalie called me, screaming about how I was destroying the family. My father sent cold, formal emails. My mother left voicemails that swung between guilt-tripping and fury. But Eleanor stayed. She came to my chemo appointments. She brought soup when I was too sick to cook. She sat with me during the bad days and celebrated the good ones. She didn't try to replace my parents. She just showed up. Rachel loved her immediately. She's like the grandmother from a Hallmark movie, except real. My treatment progressed. The cancer responded well. Dr. Patterson started talking about remission, about survival rates, about the future. Eleanor was there for every update, every scan, every piece of good news. 6 months after I met her, I went into remission. My parents didn't come to the appointment where I got the news. They were at Natalie's housewarming party. Eleanor brought champagne. We toasted in Dr. Patterson's office. Rachel cried. Eleanor held my hand and said, "I knew you'd beat this. You're stronger than all of them." That night, I blocked my parents' numbers. Not forever. Just for a while. I needed space. I needed to heal. And I couldn't do that while they were making everything about them. Natalie sent one final text. "I hope you're happy. You've destroyed this family." I didn't respond. A year later, I'm healthy. The cancer hasn't come back. I have regular scans, but Dr. Patterson is optimistic. I cut my hair short and actually like it. Rachel says I look like a badass. Eleanor and I have dinner every week. She tells me stories about my father as a child, before everything went wrong. Sometimes it makes me sad, thinking about what could have been. But mostly, I'm just grateful I found her. My parents and I are in family therapy. It was Eleanor's idea. She said holding on to anger would only hurt me, not them. We're making progress. Slowly. My father is starting to admit things about his childhood. My mother is starting to understand why I felt so abandoned. Natalie and I aren't there yet. Maybe we never will be. But I'm okay with that. The thing about almost dying is it clarifies everything. You realize who shows up and who makes excuses. You realize that blood doesn't make family. Loyalty does. Love does. Being there does. My grandmother taught me that. The one they said was dead. The one who saved my life in more ways than one. Sometimes the family you need isn't the one you're born into. Sometimes you have to find them. Or sometimes, if you're lucky, they find you.